I'm here today with Robert and Edward Skidelsky. Robert is a professor emeritus at Warwick University, and Edward is a lecturer in philosophy at Exeter University in the UK. We're here to talk about their new book, How Much is Enough? Money in the Good Life. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
So, how do you discern how much is enough?
I guess a mainstream economist, when asked how much is enough, would say, well, how much do you want? And of course, if you phrase it that way, then there's no concrete answer. But our answer to the question, how much is enough for the good life. And we believe you can actually inject some concrete content into the notion of the good life by drawing on philosophical and religious traditions from around the world. And that's what we try to do in this book. And we think there's actually quite a lot of convergence on what the basic human goods are. And there are differences as well, but there's quite a bit of overlap.
Well, as a student of your son in philosophy, how would you characterize the ingredients of that good life? What are those common elements that you see?
Well, there are 7 basic goods altogether that we identify. There's health, security, personality, friendship, leisure, and harmony with nature, and respect. These are we've in a way extracted them and we've put our own words on them, but these are the basic thoughts that we get from many different philosophic traditions, and we argue that these constitute the good life, and that society, individuals and society, should pursue these and not make a fetish, and certainly not a god, of just increasing GDP without any reference to any of these things.
In your book, you talk about Faust as a metaphor of this entire process. How does that?
Well, it was really we have a section in which we investigate the way in which the idea of greed, avarice, envy, love of money got liberated from all those restraints on the expressions of these forms of insatiability, and got mutated by economists in the 18th century into something else. In other words, robbing it of its connection with evil.
So the Ten Commandments got kind of whitewashed, huh?
Keynes, interestingly, always had a Faustian view of capitalism. I mean, he acknowledged its evils, but he thought them necessary for the sake of long-run growth. And there's a nice passage in Economic Possibilities for Our Grandchildren, which we quote, where he says, we must pretend to ourselves and to everyone that fair is foul and foul is fair, for foul is useful and fair is not. So he understood the evils of capitalism.
There was some sort of bargain.
Yeah.
At a conscious level, people really, by the 18th century, were saying, this is the way we get growth. And some of these qualities that we're liberating aren't the finest, and may even be at the expense of the finest qualities. But if you want the wealth of nations to grow, this is the path on which you have to embark. And I think they understood what they were doing. At least many of them did. And people like Adam Smith also thought that it would stop at some point. They talked of a stationary state when people would more or less have enough comfort to leave off this particular treadmill, get off it.
Well, you talked about the economic possibilities of our grandchildren. Keynes himself envisioned getting off of that treadmill, and we're not there yet.
Well, I think that was his great mistake in that essay, and the reason he made that mistake is that he neglected the relative character of wants. He assumed people had a sort of fixed set of natural wants, and once those wants were satisfied, they'd no longer be purposive in an economic sense. Their energies would be redirected to non-economic goods.
Yes.
But what's become pretty clear since then is that most of our wants are conditional upon what other people have.
Yes, we're always being encouraged to compare our fortunes with those of others. Someone has a bit more than we have, so we want it. And that's why we say that it's only through a better understanding of what makes for a good life that you even begin to start asking the question, how much is enough? And if you don't have some way of asking and answering that question, the machine goes on churning endlessly and endlessly and endlessly.
What was William Blake's famous statement about excess leading to the palace of wisdom?
The palace of wisdom is reached by the road of excess.
Road of excess, yes.
Yeah, well, that's
How they
that's
say.
an optimistic view. The road of excess doesn't always lead to the palace of wisdom.